So today we are going to start with some vocabulary, and then we're going to talk about different angle relationships. And I want to apologize ahead of time because I don't have a way to make this first sheet go sideways, so you'll kind of have to read a little bit on the side. But this is going to help us with some of these 5 different kinds of angles. And I'm going to start over here on the left-hand side and talk about adjacent angles. So adjacent angles that are next to each other, adjacent means next to, and they share a common side. So here's a picture, 2 angles that share a common side would be like angle 1 and angle 2. Okay, and then I'm going to go down to the bottom. It says complementary angles are 2 angles that add up to 90. Okay, so it might look like this. They might be a 90-degree angle and you have adjacent angles 1 and 2. Or you might have something like, oh, this angle is 37 and this angle is 43. No, not 43, 53. And that adds up to make 90. So they could be adjacent, but they don't have to be adjacent. Similarly, with supplementary angles add up to 180. So again, it could be a straight line, because you know a straight angle adds up to 180, or it could be like this angle right here is 120, and this angle right here is 60, and they add up to 180, so they're supplementary. Now, along with that is linear pair, and a linear pair is kind of an extension of the supplementary. Okay, so not only, these are ones that have to be adjacent. So in this angles down here with supplementary, these are an option but not required. But with a linear pair, they have to be making a straight line. So if it makes a straight line, they're supplementary and they're adjacent, which means they are a linear pair. So here the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. And then finally we have vertical angles. Vertical angles are across from each other if you have intersecting lines. So let's bring that down a little bit. What do intersecting lines look like? Here are 2 intersecting lines. Vertical angles are across from each other. So if I label this 1, 2, 3, 4, then the angles that are across from each other are vertical angles. Okay, so angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles, and angle 2 and angle 4 are vertical angles because they are across from each other. Okay, now if they are across from each other, then they are congruent. That's super important. We're going to use that over and over and over this year. Okay, so adjacent, complementary, supplementary, linear pair, and vertical angles. Okay, so now we're going to do some information with that. So first, if I look at like number 1, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to identify that these 2 angles are vertical angles because they're across from each other. And we just said that vertical angles are congruent, so x equals 112. Number 2, here I see a right angle, so these are complementary. That means they add up to 90. X plus 68 equals 90. So x is going to equal 22. Okay, and then on number 3 here, this is a straight angle here, so they add up to 180. X plus 124 equals 180. So x equals 56. All right, so number 4, we're finding all the missing things. Okay, so first, let's find vertical. We'll use our vertical angles to say that y is equal to 43. Then we'll use supplementary angles to say that x and 43 together have to make a straight line, so they have to be 180. X plus 43 equals 180. Subtract 43 from both sides, so x is 137. Then I can say, okay, x and z are across from each other, so they have to be equal. So z is also 137. So see how we're using all this vocabulary to be able to help us? That's why vocabulary is so important. Let's take a look at number 5. First, I'm noticing that 72 and y are across from each other. So y has to equal 72. Okay? Then maybe I see that y, the 72 and the z make a right angle. So they have to add up to 90. So z plus 72 equals 90. When I subtract 72 from both sides, I get z equals 18. And then maybe I notice that x and 72 make a straight line together, so they have to add up to make 180. They have to be supplementary. X plus 72 equals 180. When I subtract 72, I get x equals 108. And you can put degrees on these if you want. Okay, number 6. I want you to do number 6 on your own. You're going to have to go back. You might look at that other page. Here we have vertical angles. And if you know one, how can you find the other? On number 7, do it on your own. Complementary means what? So if you know one, can you find the other? Supplementary means what? Can you find the missing measure? And linear pair, look back and see what those mean. And do that. So on your own, stop your video, do 6, 7, 8, and 9. When you're done with all 4 of them, raise your hand and I'll come around and check. Or if you have trouble, just raise your hand, I'll come around. Okay, number 10. We have PQT. So PQT. PQT is 3x plus 47. And SQR is 6x minus 25. It's really important to label your pictures. We're trying to find SQR. So see how in this picture, those two expressions are across from each other? That means they're vertical angles, which means they're equal. 3x plus 47 equals 6x minus 25. So then I'm going to solve that. First I'm going to subtract 3x. 47 equals 3x minus 25. Add 25. 3x equals 72. Divide by 3. X equals 24. Okay, but I'm not done yet because remember in geometry we have to go back and read the question. It says find the measure of SQR. So I'm going to take this 24 and put it in place of the x here. So 6 times 24 minus 25, that's going to be 119. And that's what I'm going to box because that's what SQR is. I can use the degree symbol if I like. Number 11. Here I have AB is perpendicular to CD. It says DCE is 7x plus 2, so I'm going to label that 7x plus 2. And then it says ECB is x plus 8, so I'll label that. Find the measure of DCE. So since these are perpendicular, that means that we have a 90-degree angle here. That means that these two expressions have to be complementary. They have to add up to 90. So I'm going to do that. 7x plus 2 plus x plus 8 equals 90. And then I combine my terms. 8x plus 10 equals 90. Subtract 10. 8x equals 80. Divide by 8. X equals 10. Where is that going to get plugged in? That's going to get plugged in for DCE. 7 times 10 plus 2 is 72. That's my final answer there. Okay, number 12, I'm going to go ahead and label my picture, and then you're going to work that problem. It says K and M is 8x minus 5. And MNJ is 4x minus 19. Okay, so see how these make a straight line together? Okay, that means I have to add up to 180. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to say 4x minus 19 plus 8x minus 5 equals 180. Stop your video. Go ahead and solve those. Raise your hand when you're done. I'll come around and check it. Number 13 says, label your picture. DEG is 5x minus 4. And GEF is 7x minus 8. So 5x minus 4, 7x minus 8. Then it says DEH, this part in here, is 9y plus 5. Find x and y. Okay, so here, I have to use the information that I have that uses the same variable because we can't solve an equation that has both an x and a y in it. So if I look at just the part with x's in my picture, those make a straight line. Okay, that straight line is 180 degrees. So I'm going to say 5x minus 4 plus 7x minus 8 equals 180. I can solve that. 12x minus 12 equals 180. Add 12 to both sides. 12x equals 192. Divide by 12. I get x equals 16. So I'm done with that part, because that was one of the things I was supposed to find. That still hasn't helped me find y, but I could plug this 16 into this expression, 7 times 16 minus 8, okay? And when I do that, I get 104. And I know that this angle right here and my 9y plus 5 has to be equal because they're vertical angles. So I'm going to take this 104 that I just found and set it equal to 9y plus 5. And then I can subtract 5 and get 99 equals 9y. Divide by 9, y equals 11. So those are my two answers, 16 and 11. All right, I want you to try number 14 and 15 on your own. You have to use complementary. Complementary means add to make 90. So you're going to add these together equal to 90. And when you get to 15, it says they're supplementary. That means they add up to 180. So add these up equal to 180. Solve both of those and raise your hand. I'll come around and check. Number 16 says they form a linear pair. So anytime you have all these words, it's probably a good idea to draw a picture. So a linear pair looks like this, right? They make a straight line. Angle 1 and angle 2. It says measure of angle 2 is 6 more than twice the measure of angle 1. So see how it's comparing to angle 1, twice angle 1, it's comparing to angle 1. So you're going to call angle 1 your x, okay? And then to find angle 2, I'm going to say 6 more than twice angle 1. So angle 1 is x, twice angle 1 is 2x, and 6 more than that means add 6. So if I'm trying to find my angles, I'm going to add these together equal to 180 because I know that all linear pairs add to 180. 2x plus 6 plus your x equals 180. That's 3x plus 6 equals 180. Subtract 6. 3x equals 174. Divide by 3, x equals 58. So now I have to find angle 2. Angle 2 is my 2x plus 6. So I'm going to take 2 times 58 and add 6 so that the measure of angle 2 is 122. Okay, number 17. Here we have complementary angles. That means we're going to add two things up and equal it to 90. Okay, I'm going to also draw this picture. Right angles. Okay, it says J is 18 less than K. Okay, so K has to be your smaller thing. So it's the X. It's comparing to the K, so K is the X. And then 18 less than that means X minus 18. So I'm going to have X. I'm going to add X minus 18, and that'll equal 90. So 2X minus 18 equals 90. Add 18. 2X equals 108. So X equals 54. Okay, so that's the measure of angle K. And then the measure of angle K is J is 18 less than that. So 54 minus 18 is 36, and that's the measure of angle J. All right, number 18. Here we have UW bisects the angle. That means these are two equal angles. TUW is 13x minus 5. WUV is 7x plus 31. So again, you have to know the vocabulary. Since they're equal, then I set those equal to each other. Go ahead and solve that on your own. Raise your hand when you're done and I'll check it. Number 19. MO bisects PMN. That means these are equal. PMN is 74. And OMN is 2x plus 7. Okay, so since I'm going to take that 74 and I'm going to divide by 2 and get 37, because if the whole angle is 74 and this is half, then I can divide by 2. And I'm going to set the 2x plus 7 equal to 37. Go ahead and solve that right now. Raise your hand when you're done. I'll check it. And finally, EF bisects CEB. So these are congruent. CEF is 7x plus 21. FEB is 10x minus 3. Find DEB. Okay, so this is a little bit different. We're going to start out by saying since these angles are equal with the bisect, then I can set the expressions equal. So I'm going to say 7x plus 21 equals 10x minus 3. I'm going to subtract 7x from both sides. I'm going to add 3. And then when I divide by 3, I'll get x equals 8. Okay, now I'm trying to find DEB, which is right here. Okay, so I'm going to have to take this 8 and plug it into here. 7 times 8 is 56, plus 21 is 77. Well, if that's 77, this is 77 also. Now, all three of these will make a straight line. So this 77, and the angle we're looking for have to add up to make 180. So this is going to be 154 plus the measure of angle DEB equals 180. And when I subtract 154, I get the measure of angle DEB equals 26. Okay, raise your hand when you're done. I'll come around and give you your problem set.